Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing? This is Ron C here on Sidebus Social channel, the official channel that is going to be covering a lot of different things in life. The one part I looked at when I wanted to make this show or whatnot was to be the official middle class country club. That's the intro to the show, so a middle class country club. Why I say it like that is because the country club gents, the top 1%, they in the country club, they playing that golf or whatnot, but they also making $1 million deals. They're making decisions with governors and the official city men. They're talking about sending their kids to the highest schools, and they're basically chopping it up, and they're always talking amongst each other of what is the right moves to make in order to advance, in order to grow their own prowess. I look at it as I want that same thing for us, the middle class people that don't have those $1 million in their bank account or whatnot, but they do it from this presence of, if you want that kind of status, you got to stay woke. You got to know what's going on in the world, and mainly you got to see how it affects you. So I wanted this show to be the show that actually shows that premise into a higher regard in order to evaluate different things that could happen. A trickle down of economics, one way or another. Does that work? Something as small as a Chinese neighborhood, they're trying to get a stop sign and they're wondering why their city officials aren't doing it, to as high as why is Thailand, having such problems with trade with us, or something to that degree, which I don't know if Thailand is. I'm just throwing out an example. How does that affect us? How does that trickle effect work? That's the number one thing I would like the show to be, a meeting of the minds in order to help the everyday people stay, do I dare say the work is woke, but I like to call it just objective, of how it can affect us. So different things we're going to be talking about. It could be pop culture, it could be technology, it could be government, it could be animals, it could be, I don't know, rainforest. If the rainforest is going up, it's good to just have a good opinion. And like I said, the biggest thing is to translate into how does it affect you? Why should I care? I understand that. Why should I care? If this happens, why should I care? So that's what, my goal for this show to be. I'm your host, Ron C. I've been in video production, editing, TV production for the best part of about 10 years. So I've never really been much of a talent. I've always been mostly behind the scenes, but I started really developing a passion to kind of looking at different things that are going on in the world and saying, man, I think that'll affect us this way, impact it this way, and give my kind of insight. But a lot of times I was talking to myself. So, I was like, I like to, talk to somebody about it, so call this my platform to kind of talk with people. Hit me with a comment down below, things that you want me to share, impressions on it, your take on different things I say. If you disagree, you agree, like, unlike, comment. Make sure you hit below so you get each of my notifications when I do have a new video or when I'm going live. Follow me, subscribe, all those kind of good things. So it's good to go. I'm glad to meet all y'all. I hope this is going to be the start of a beautiful ongoing thing. I'm trying to basically do 2 videos a week, something like that, to make sure everything's smooth and we stay intact. And like I said, don't hesitate to hit me back up with a comment, hit me back up with a personal message, all that. So it's all good. First subject, I'm actually going to jump right into it. I'm going to start a little soft, not too something crazy, but something to make you think. Is a New Year's Day. Actually, New Year's Day is a holiday, and I just don't know why. That's the funniest thing to me, is why is New Year's Day a holiday? Now, I think the argument, I should have looked this up before I even brought this up. I kind of going off the top today, but I believe maybe too many jobs, too many companies just came to maybe the government and say, look, everybody's coming through, they're hungover from the previous day from celebrating or what that, and they don't, it's very unproductive to us for the next day. Now, my thing that's crazy is myself, I had to go to work. I had to go into work like no problem. They gave me holiday pay. I got the extra money. Bottom line is I was scheduled for it. I had to come in. And if I wasn't scheduled for it, or if I was scheduled for it, I couldn't go to my boss and say, well, since this is a federal holiday, I shouldn't have to come in. You understand? So I'm not, that's why I don't get, if New Year's Day is an actual holiday, how are we observing it? How are we celebrating it? Hit me with a comment. Let me know what you think. I'm not really sure. I think when you do a holiday, especially an observance or a celebratory thing, you should be doing some observance and celebratory. I've never to this day heard anybody do anything for New Year's Day. What are you doing on New Year's Day? Why am I off on New Year's Day? Because I'm not praying. I'm not, reading general scriptures. We're not going over different New Year's happenings. There may be some New Year's parades. I've never heard of any. I'm pretty sure there's somewhere, maybe New York or whatever, but I've heard of Thanksgiving Day parade. I haven't heard of a New Year's Day parade. So why are we in observance of New Year's Day? Because we're drunk, and we just can't go into work. I mean, is that a legitimate reason to make a national holiday? Once again, just hit me with a comment. Let me know. This is going to be maybe a little knowledgeable on my part, learning some history on my part. Like I said, I should have maybe Googled it first. I just kind of went off the top, when I started. But it's just one of those things that it also triggered another conversation in my head was, hey, why do we have a lot of these holidays where all we do is sit at the house? Why are we doing anything celebratory and observance, and we're not really doing anything celebratory or observance? On Labor Day, we barbecue. Have you ever to this day played homage to the labor force? Have you ever, I don't know, wrote a card, just had a, writing card session to all the people who are in the workforce that are helping the economy, drive right? Or have you ever just gone to, random person in the hard labor force, the workforce, such as, I don't know, the tank workers, the manufacturing workers, anybody that's fully in the labor force that don't have, do I dare say, glamorous jobs, but they're just in, laborious jobs, and said a thank you, or, wrote poetry to them, make poems for them, or made posters for them. What have we done to celebrate these days and observe these days other than sit down and eat food, barbecue, or talk about nothing? It's just weird to me to basically say I have a day off, I'm going to observe this, but I'm going to do nothing to actually observe it, actually celebrate what's going on in this day of celebration. Now, I don't know if it's Ramadan. I can't remember which exact thing, but I believe in Morocco, I think it's Ramadan. They have a actual 4 or 5 day full celebration in the streets at the end of Ramadan, of Eid, which is the last day of Ramadan. I believe, like I said, I might have to look it up again, but I believe that's the country that does it. And they're out there and they're celebrating and they're going around and they're music and they're dancing and huge feasts, and they pray together. They go, across that big stone where they just got to cross and turn around, and they go around and they meet people and they converse. And it's one big, huge day, or sorry, a couple of days of celebration after that to acknowledge, to observe the Allah, the prophet, coming down. That to me is a celebratory thing, and they have days off and everything. I mean, and it's a national wide thing. So just like we have our special days, such as New Year's Eve, such as I believe Columbus Day, such as the 4th of July, all those things happening. Well, July 4th we actually do celebrate. Everybody does fireworks and all that kind of stuff, but most of the other holidays we do not. So that is one of the main things I would just like to talk about, to wonder, hey, why have we become a society that doesn't have real acknowledgement for these general historic milestone days that we call holidays? We just now do it for our own personal convenience rather than talk about or observe or celebrate the way that we should. And that's just a weird thing to me. I just think that is something that needs to be somewhat addressed. Are we going to observe by actually participating and commencing an activity that displays the respect we show for those specific days? Or is it always going to be, if it's not something really big, such as, like I said, a July 4th, maybe such as a Christmas, the big ones, it's just going to be a day off for us, so it's an extra day off. So that's a challenging thing. I wonder what you guys think of it. Let me know what's going on. Like I said, back to New Year's Day. New Year's Day is just really weird to me because, like I said, if that's the case, almost like saying maybe we should really push for a 420 day off, But I don't understand, why would you ever want to put a day that you do the same thing you do every day, every month, probably earlier that week, probably the day before 420, 419, doing the same thing you're doing on 420. So why do you want to observe it? And that's just a weird kind of crass situation, argument, because they argue, but we all know what that's about. But still, I see it the same way. Have a day off where you don't do anything. You're not observing anything. You're not respecting anything. I'm just going to be drunk. So, hey, I just make no sense to try to have an ineffective day. Like I said, there's a lot of people that doesn't happen to. New Year's Eve, I fell asleep at like 10. I actually just toasted with my grandma, who was in New York. I did a virtual toast with her. She had one beer. I had, one beer. And we had that virtual celebration. And we both went to sleep. Because I'm just like, what am I going to do? What's going on? Matter of fact, it's just kind of weird. But New Year's Eve, I'll get that. New Year's Day, I don't get. I have a day off for what? What do I have a day off for? Makes no sense. What do I have a day off for? Now, will I take it? Absolutely. But will I work? Yes, because that's exactly what I had to do. And I've actually had to do that, I believe, for the last, 2-3 years. I had to work on New Year's Day. But I wasn't stressed. But you hear a lot of people, you'll see a lot of people, it's like, what kind of notion is it to sit there and work on New Year's Day or whatnot, and because all that. So all because you want to be an alcoholic, or because you want to party hard and all that kind of stuff, you now have the excuse that you don't have to sit there and come in. That's insane to me. That's really crazy. So basically, I'm saying I'm gonna go ahead and start taking any kind of day off of. Hey, I want to observe Columbus Day. This bad example, but I want to observe Columbus Day. So, boss, I'm not coming in today. I'm gonna sit here and read some, Italian poetry or Italian psalms or whatnot from the things he did, or sorry, Spanish psalms or Spanish doctrine, just to observe this holiday. And I don't think I should come in, for that reason. So it's crazy. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in on this first episode. We're gonna have plenty more crazy, but also controversial. That's my mission. I'm gonna make it controversial. Even if it's not controversial, I'm gonna make it controversial. Subjects here. Hit that like, subscribe. Hit me with a comment. If you got something, if I'm talking some straight nonsense, you crazy, you got an argument for it, please, I want to hear it. Till then, thank you. See y'all soon. Sidebus Social.